Well, I've had Chris Williams sit in your seat and Stephanie Vitaco sit in your seat a few weeks ago, and the thing that's always amazed me in talking to people at your level is that there's something inherently competitive.
Very
competitive.
Bet on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I would say to people, what's the one thing that you hope you bring into this business? And that's the desire to compete.
Yeah.
And so now when you're out, when you're feeling this sense, I've got to call the next person. If you've got a pulse, I'm calling you. Is that a sense of competing against another real estate agent? Or you feel like you're competing against you?
Initially, for my first years in the business, it was very much a desire to be the best. And I wasn't, obviously. It took me 8 years before I was the number one agent in Santa Clarita. And I have been since, every year. So that means that once you get to wherever it is you're trying to get, you're not going to accept going backwards either. There was a couple years there where the REO world, really put me on my butt because I was competing in a way that was completely unfamiliar to me. I didn't have the relationships that some of the agents taking listings in my marketplace did.
Right.
My traditional client is a regular buyer or seller, not a bank.
Right.
So then I had to go out and solicit the banks, which I did, because I was, again, afraid that was going to be the world I lived in for the next 5, 7, 10 years. We didn't know in 2007. So, there was a couple years there where there was agents doing more units than me, but not production. And I was well aware of it. I mean, I knew exactly where I stood. So that competitive spirit, if you have it, and it's not, I'll say one last thing about this. There's always this idea that you're competing against yourself to be better, that's the healthy way to do it. And I agree with that, okay? But I love the idea of competing against other agents. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. But, if there were like somebody just really blowing the doors off in the Santa Clarita Valley, and there's been a couple recently, that would motivate me, right? And then I make a decision, hey, at 29 years in on this business, do I still want to go compete against these guys who have the fire in their belly that I had 15 years ago? The answer so far is yes. But maybe the time will come where it wouldn't be, and that'll be my choice.
Right. And that's Stephanie. Stephanie doesn't want to lose it at anything.
Oh no.
Chris, you probably didn't see the episode of this Ambitious Broker, but we were socializing one night and she invited me to come play some game. And she hates it when I tell this story. But she said to me, I just want you to know that I'm going to cheat. She goes, that's how badly I have to win, and it's going to be your job to catch me.